Shooting us through the back door.
Okay, now we got to move on. That was just whoa. That's what they call a groaner. Everybody goes, oh.
The servant's entrance. Okay. Wow, Rabs knows about these videos, says the boy wonder.
I know everything. Okay, go on to the next one.
It's through Ruach HaKodesh.
Yeah. Hey, go on. Let's get serious here. Enough of your stew out.
This Pasha tells us what it is good for people to make, including the Sabbath, the sanctuary. They shouldn't try to be gods and to clone people. So the vocabulary of building the tabernacle, when it talks about finished the work and it's blessed, blah, 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 is reminiscent of the creation, Genesis chapter 2. God rescues the Jews and then he has them build a place for him to dwell with them. It's interesting, Exodus chapter 25 verses 8. Please turn in your Bibles. For the word of the Lord. They shall make a sanctuary for me, says God, so that I may dwell among them.
Right.
You would think, logically, in that sentence, I never want one, so I'll ask you if I ever do.
Oh, okay, so I won't feel rude.
Yeah.
I won't feel rude.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when God says, they shall make a sanctuary for me so that I may dwell among them, you'd think it would logically say, they shall make a sanctuary for me so that I may dwell in it. But God doesn't say that.
Okay.
It doesn't say, build a sanctuary for me so that I can hang there. It says, build a sanctuary for me so that I may dwell among the people.
Right. And I just explained how that works. So how does that work?
Exactly.
Because you build the Mishkan, right? Mm-hmm. God sends down his Rishpei Eish, or whatever you call it, the fiery, whatever you call it, and he comes down, and now this presence of God, this higher level of God, of Kedusha, is going to come down and dwell amongst the Jewish people. That's what the whole purpose is.
D-Medic says in the chat room, I knew what porn was before I knew what death was.
Very well written, too. It's grammatically correct.
Very sharp thinker. Very sharp thinker.
You would date him if he was a female. That would be like a match.
And he was hot.
And now they have to be hot, too?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily steal your email here.
You've never complained before.
Well, I mean, you never showed it to me before.
So how could the Jews have all these sanctuary materials while they were running out of Egypt and wandering around in the desert?
That's a good question. I have to look that up. I saw you pop that on there like right before I left the house. I didn't get a chance. I mean, like you blindsided me with that one. It says that the Anania Kavod, you know what those are?
No.
The clouds of glory surrounded them and protected them and all that. And God provided them with all their needs. So I'm just going to answer Balabatish that whatever they needed for the Mishkan, God made readily available. For instance, I'll give you an example. It says later on we're going to learn about a guy who went out, Zalafchad his name is, and he went out and he gathered sticks. And he got in trouble. Is that another pizza coming?
Hey, I'll call you back in an hour.
Oh, you know who it is?
Ex-girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah.
Call it in an hour, 1 year from now. Hey, Ginger. Ginger's in the room. What am I saying? Anania Kavod. So the question is, why did this guy have to go around and get sticks? So, right, on Shabbos and all that. How do these people live in houses? Like, what was the story with all this? So I'm going to say that God provided all their needs, just like the man came from the sky, the food.
Yeah.
So whatever they needed for the Mishkan, God provided it in some sort of form. Now there's one thing, though, that's interesting. It says that we know where they got some of the gold. What's that? We know where they got some of the gold. Because they need gold for the aruchos or something. And one of the things in the Mishkan, they needed gold, right?
Yeah.
So Rashi brings down and he says that they got it from the jewelry, and the women in the desert helped out because they gave their nose rings to it.
Right.
Their nose rings. So they took like the gold nose rings and they added it to it. So that was very special because these were the nose rings that attracted the Jewish men to the Jewish women. And from that, what do you see? That the women in the desert, that it was a Jewish zach. The Jewish women all had nose rings. Right? So we see what? That when a Jewish woman wants a nose ring, that's a very, very Jewish thing to do. It's very holy.
Huh. The nose ring is very holy?
Nose ring is very holy. We see that.
That didn't turn me on.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're the guy who doesn't like the
Because
facial.
I read off the Persian chick.
The Persian chick had the facial piercings,
piercings,
and you were like out the door. You have
like,
like some sort of phobia with the.
I don't like tats and piercings.
Is that from your Christian days?
Probably. I just don't like them.
Do Christians not get tattoos?
They shouldn't.
Oh, really? Because facial piercings, or if you will, is a Jewish zach. I mean, we see that. They had nose rings. Facial piercings do not turn me off at all. If anything, they would turn me on.
If you're susceptible to such.
Right, I'm usually above that. But when I see something holy like a facial thing, it hits my godly soul. It strikes a chord with it. You're out the door. You're like flying. You are like already in like the vegetable section when she came by that day. Yeah. That was all. That was the reason. Was the facial piercing?
Yeah, I don't like them.
What if she had like a tattoo? Would that be the same thing?
Ugh, yeah, I can't stand tattoos.
So what's worse, a woman? Let's talk about this for a second. Let's just talk about this. A woman with bad grammar, poor grammar, or a woman with facial piercings and tattoos.
Bad grammar.
Oh, that's a real.
Yeah.
That's no good.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
So at least the Persian chick in the market, like she spoke properly and she had good grammar. At least she had that going for her.
Yeah, she had a lot going for her.
But if she had no facial piercings, right, and she was just like sitting there real pretty, and she said, "Lady," no, she said like, "Hi, fellas, what is those dressings today?" And you'd be like, "What are those dressings?" And you would just run away even faster.
Right.
Okay, I get it. Okay, I just need to understand that.
That's the way God made me.
Okay, go on.
People have tried. So, by the way, that question comes from the Bible critics, like the skeptics.
I imagine, as do most of your things.
So, like the higher criticism school of Julius Wellhausen, etc.
Yeah, the real Apicorson. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I answered it, didn't I?
You did.
Because I can answer all of them. It says it says that da mala. It says to know what to answer the Apicores. I can do that.
So people have tried to reconstruct the sanctuary from these instructions, not worked out real well, because these are
who?
Dennis Prager.
He's wrong.
Really? Can you elaborate?
Go ahead. I want to hear you make your stupid point because it's already wrong.
So these are ideal measurements, like rather than real world measurements. The tabernacle is essential in Israel's idea system.
Okay, it's completely wrong. It's wrong.
Okay.
If you go to, my proof is 25, close to 30 years ago. No, 25 years ago, I was in Eretz Israel. I was living in Yerushalayim, and I was learning Masechtas Midas, which tells you like all the different dimensions, how to build your Beis Hamikdash, how to build your Mishkan. And I was like, I couldn't make heads or tails of it. It's just like it's too hard to picture. And someone said, "Hey, why don't you go up to the Holy Land Hotel, which is like up on it's like Beit Vegan or something. It's like near whatever." Mm-hmm. And I was like, huh? And like this guy did a whole outdoor model, and he rebuilt the Beis Hamikdash based on all the measurements that are provided in the Torah. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's all right there. There are many, many drawings that have been depicted by people who draw it, like draft it according to the dimensions that are given and they're not down in Masechtas Midos. We don't paskin out of the Chumash. You go by Masechtas Midas, right? The Talmud explains the measurements. That's what we go by. And if you just follow it, there's guys who really are experts and they can build it perfectly. It's not that big of a deal. It's been done many, many times. I think my own rabbi does it on the internet somewhere. I think I've seen him do it.